What's up, dudes? Max here, and we're back with information from Gamescom, one of the biggest gaming events going on in Cologne, Germany, and Ed Boon has dropped some serious details regarding characters and guest characters for Mortal Kombat X. And I'm gonna get right into it, guys. There was some information that dropped from an IGN article that has people kind of freaking out right now about the possibilities, and Ed was saying that all is not lost if your favorite character does not make the cut. However, Boon was promising that the roster would be expanded with DLC post-launch, and there will be revealed that yes, there is console-exclusive fighters that will be back. This is referring to Kratos that appeared in the PlayStation 3 version of Mortal Kombat 9. He also said, but between now and launch, the focus is very much on creating those new characters and getting all the ones that fans can get behind. But when he asks what this means and should we expect these new players to be the one carrying the franchise forward, he really couldn't answer that one at this given time. The other interesting note is that the current top row of characters in Mortal Kombat X all resembles older MK characters returning roster, while the bottom one resembles all brand new characters never before seen really in the Mortal Kombat universe. Now, what's interesting is that they were asked about this at Gamescom, and they kind of hinted that this might be the way the game is going to go, that the top list of roster is going to be dedicated to older characters and the other half is for newer characters. That is a huge change for Mortal Kombat, kind of similar to previous like 3D first incarnation MK4 and stuff like that, where a lot of new characters showed up in the Mortal Kombat universe, and that could potentially be the possibility here, that the first top row is going to be all older characters and returning and redesigns, and the bottom row completely new fighters. Kinda crazy to think about that, but it's also really interesting. I think that might be a huge breath of fresh air for the Mortal Kombat franchise. But alongside those quotes and the big news that we gotta discuss right now, and there's a couple of things that I think everyone needs to understand, is talking about these guest characters that are gonna be making an appearance, most likely on the PlayStation 4 version and the Xbox One version. Of course, we all know, like I said, Kratos was just on the PS3 version, and Xbox did not get a dedicated character for MK9. Also, NetherRealm Studios has always really leaned, and well, along with WB Games, leaned on the shoulders of PlayStation. They always kind of work really closely with them, similar to how Call of Duty games are really closely associated with Xbox. MK has always kind of been really closely associated to Sony, and that might not be happening for this situation. I believe that there's going to be more of a very even playing ground, kind of similar to what Soul Calibur did with Vader and Yoda when they were guest characters for Soul Calibur 4 from Namco. But the question on everyone's mind is who's going to be the guest character? I know a lot of you guys are already saying it's Kratos. Of course it's going to be Kratos. He's coming back. Kratos has indeed already been deconfirmed. He is not going to be the returning character on the PlayStation lineup. We also have the Microsoft side, which in comparison to MK9 didn't have a lot of characters that I feel would fit extremely well in the MK universe. You might immediately be saying, Master Chief, let's put in, a character from Joel from Last of Us, maybe a character from Killzone, or even maybe Lara Croft, since Microsoft is bringing out, Tomb Raider on Xbox One. I'm gonna strike you guys down right here. None of those characters are going to make it into Mortal Kombat X. Mostly because the majority of these characters, and what you really have to understand about the Mortal Kombat universe and why it's kind of hard to team up with other characters unless you get like an abomination like MK versus DC, you have to have that character being comfortable in an environment where they can get their face cut off, where they can be decapitated, completely humiliated through horrible amounts of gore, suffering, and violence. And not a lot of characters are okay with that. I guarantee you Lara Croft doesn't fit in this game. In no way would Eidos or Square Enix let Lara Croft's face get cut off by Scorpion. In no way are they going to allow really crazy, gory, fantastical things to happen to characters, which is why something like Mortal Kombat vs. Street Fighter is not a possibility. Capcom Japan would not be okay with characters getting their heads cut off, Chun-Li getting her legs cut off, or Chun-Li cutting somebody else's legs off. It just doesn't fit with the character. When you think of a character for the Mortal Kombat universe, you have to think of it that way, which is why in the previous video where we were talking about the Predator making an appearance, an alien hunter that we have seen mutilated in several games past and cuts heads off and all this stuff, and he works for that. A Xenomorph would work amazingly well, and a dream of mine would be that the Xbox version would get the Predator and the Xenomorph would pop on the PlayStation. That would be absolutely amazing, albeit not an entire likely probability. The WB Games crew have worked on interesting games in the past, even Marvel games which belong to Disney, which lead me to think that it is somewhat maybe possible, but at the same time, These things are about promoting products. God of War came out for MK9, and Kratos was there because God of War 3 was really popular, and Master Chief was in Dead or Alive because there was a new Halo game coming out. This is very important to realize. And what I want to tell you guys is that one of the highest possibilities, especially on the Xbox end, is a Killer Instinct character. Killer Instinct, a brand new franchise from Microsoft, is going to be having another game coming out around the same time as Mortal Kombat X, most likely, with Season 2 constantly getting updated, is a high probability right now. I don't see any other character in the Microsoft roster of universes and established franchises that would really fit very well, unless it was maybe like the Arbiter or like an alien character from Halo, but I feel like that fits better in KI, perhaps. I do really think that Fulgore is the highest possibility of showing up in Mortal Kombat X. And one thing you gotta realize is that even Killer Instinct characters aren't extremely gory. It's violence, not gore. And it's always been that way. Even older KI games, there was no dismemberment or heads cutting off or anything crazy like that. You might have seen somebody melted to death, but it wasn't like extreme gore. KI was never about that. They were always T-rated games. So you gotta have a character that's comfortable with getting their head chopped off. I don't think we're gonna see Orchid, I don't think we're gonna see Glacius or Saberwolf or anybody like that getting their legs and everything mutilated. The only character that I honestly feel could fit in the MK universe from KI is Fulgore. He's a robot. He's kind of a cyborg robot. He has human parts about him, but he's a mass-produced killing machine from an evil conglomerate company. And who wouldn't want to see that thing killed? Who wouldn't want to see a robot killed? The only other possibility I'd say is also Riptor, because Riptor is a produced, kind of product from Ultratech in the KI universe, and we don't have confirmation of Riptor showing up anytime soon, but that's a good example, you know what I mean? I don't want to see Maya get her legs chopped off. I just don't want to see that. But to tie things in, even Ed Boon and Ken Lobb, two bigger forces at WB Games and NetherRealm, which is Ed, and Ken Lobb, who's been at Microsoft for a very long time and is very close to the Killer Instinct project, as he's kind of one of the original propagators and creators of the game, were talking at E3, and they were actually sharing tweets publicly that, hey, let's have a chat about some stuff, and let's go meet up and talk about some of these games that are coming out. And even I saw Ed playing Killer Instinct and talking with the Microsoft guys quite a bit at E3. All I'm saying is that it seems like a very high probability that a Killer Instinct character could be a cross-promotional asset to promote Killer Instinct, the new game, also to promote the new Mortal Kombat, because they're not really competing. They're on the same console, you know what I mean? It's not like it's on the GameCube. It'd be a Mario character. It's different. MKX is going to be on the Microsoft system, and that leads us to the Sony Ed. Who in Sony's lineup could actually fit? And this one's pretty tough. It's actually pretty hard for me to think of a character that would be cross-promoting something on Sony, but I do have a couple of options for you guys. Sweet Tooth would fit perfectly in the Mortal Kombat universe, especially MKX with its extreme gore. Sweet Tooth is an extremely violent character. He has brand loyalty to the PlayStation brand, and people know about him. The problem is there's no Twisted Metal games coming out anytime soon, or at least any that have been announced. But he would fit absolutely amazing. But the other one that could be a high probability, and also I would love to see, is the main character from Bloodborne. The same guys that make the Dark Souls games are making that exclusive PlayStation 4 title, which looks absolutely incredible. And I could see the main character from Bloodborne, kind of beat up like a Mortal Kombat character. The gore, him killing people, it makes sense. They're violent, dark-ass, gory characters, and that would be absolutely awesome. So my 4 picks for characters that could potentially show up on any of these platforms is the PlayStation side could potentially get a Xenomorph, the PlayStation side could potentially get the main character from Bloodborne, as well as Microsoft maybe getting the Predator or Fulgore from Killer Instinct, and if that happens, I could not be happier. Mortal Kombat X is shaping up to be very interesting, guys. What do you think could be the exclusive characters showing up in the game now that we have announcements that they will be happening after the game is launched? As always, dudes, my name is Maximilian, and if you want to check out some other Mortal Kombat X footage and coverage that we have on the channel, you can follow the link in the annotation at the top right. Take care, folks, and I'll see you next time.